guys, it's Mirika Vandens. Just going to answer a quick question from Sonja Meyerhofer. Hi. Hey, your content is super awesome. I recovered for several months now and felt great. But I had, even before, big issues with my digestion due to a chronic gastritis and medicaments I had to take for that. Now I'm diagnosed with SIBO, what sucks because that means antibiotics, no thanks. Eating disorder, a non-eating at all diet for at least 2 weeks with great results, or stay on a SIBO recommended diet, as less carbs as possible and a lot more. No matter what way I'll choose, the best results are achieved by doing the SIBO diet for some time after antibiotics or eating disorder diet. It means a lot of forbidden foods again. Vegan is almost impossible if you don't want to eat tofu twice a day. I was really proud of me for just going to the shop and buying a package of vegan gummy bears, for example, when I craved for it, and just ate it without guilt. You had a lot of issues with your gut too. Did you hear of SIBO, and did your individual problems, cause you problems in recovery? Yes, very excellent question. I'm going to go into the 3 options that you have according to your doctor. Antibiotics. You're right saying no thanks. I am so against antibiotics. Like, if it doesn't have to be for you not to die, I would always opt against it. Reason being is because your gut health relies on your microbiome, on your bacteria, and anything that kills it, and antibiotic means anti-life, like it's like it just kills anything that is alive in your gut, and your health is so much based on the bacteria you have in your gut. So if you're dealing with SIBO, and I'm going to get to that in a minute also because there are so many misdiagnoses going on as well. If you're dealing with SIBO, you want healthy gut bacteria going on in your gut. You don't want to kill what you have left. Of course, you also might have pathogens or bad bacteria, and of course you don't want them in your gut, but the way to get rid of them is not by just killing everything down there. So I would agree with you if I were you. Like, disclaimer, I am not a doctor. Don't take, like, okay, you just have to be aware of that. I'm not claiming to be anyone who has a degree in this, but for me personally, from my personal research and from my own personal experiences, antibiotics are not a good idea if you're trying to solve any kind of gut problem. So yeah, also the eating disorder diet, as you call it, a non-eating at all diet for at least 2 weeks with great results, not a good idea as well. I don't know about your restriction, like I don't know if you have a history with restriction or dieting or even eating disorder per se. Even if you haven't had any history in that, I would recommend against it, because eating disorders can in fact just come to life and just be established they can be caused by just being in a big enough calorie deficit over time. Like, it's just an evolutionary response or like a biological starvation response. Mental eating disorders are very regularly caused by just physical starvation and not eating enough, and not many people are aware of that. And so many people think it's, eating disorders are mental, like primarily mental, and they've been caused by primarily a mental issue, which of course exists. I'm not saying that is not true at all, but I'm just saying that I think, and it has been shown, that so many eating disorders can just be reversed by just physically coming out of starvation and coming out of a calorie deficit. So in many cases, if not like the vast majority of cases of eating disorders, it's actually a physical cause why you are having this eating disorder. And so I would absolutely recommend against it, but I see that you have to do something against the SIBO. So there's also the SIBO recommended diet, as less carbs as possible and a lot more. So that's nonsense as well. If you ask me, again, that's just my comments and opinion on it, and you are asking me, so I'm just sharing my opinion. Your bacteria in your gut wants the fiber, it wants the carbs. It's like the worst idea ever to just decide to not eat carbs anymore, just again to try to kill the pathogenic bacteria, like the bad bacteria. And so it's just, you know, you are like with the antibiotics, you're solving one problem and you're creating another one, like down the path. You're just creating a different kind of imbalance, or it's just you don't want to kill the pathogens while also killing the good bacteria. So what's left? It's like I've said, kind of don't do it for all of the three things. For those who don't know, SIBO is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And I also had a lot of gut issues going on. What you want to do is really, you want to eat plants. Your good bacteria wants the fiber. It lives on it. If you don't do that, there's no way you're going to achieve gut health in total. So what you really want to do is what many people do with Candida, is eat whole foods, plant-based, and low fat-ish. With gut issues, if you have bacterial issues to solve, low fat is a good idea, but it's not, you should do it in a way that doesn't actually come into the way of your eating disorder. SIBO in general is a very, very difficult diagnosis. Like, so many doctors actually diagnose people with that without having done the necessary tests to be able to certainly say this is SIBO. Like, many people get diagnosed with SIBO, just like with IBS, which means irritable bowel syndrome, and it's not even certain that they actually have it. It's just like the doctors don't know what else it could be, because they've done all kinds of tests and we can't find anything. So that's what they diagnose you with. So I would be very careful doing something specific that someone prescribes you if it's based on a diagnosis that is not 100% certain. I would go, if I were you, I would go with my gut like you already do, and I would try to think logically, like, is this really going to help me? And I agree that those three options don't sound helpful at all in the long run. You're just trying to solve one problem while creating another one. So what I would do in your case is eat whole food, plant-based, and a low-fat approach in order to keep Candida or other bacteria in check. And then I would make the food that I'm eating as easy as digestible as possible. And the way I do that, I will do in the next video. You can actually make your whole plant foods much more easily digestible, so they won't cause you any problems, whereas in their whole form, for example legumes or nuts, they're actually very hard to digest, and the more the pieces that you chew, you know, the bigger the pieces are, the more any pathogenic bacteria that you want to get rid of can be also, you know, feeding off of them. And I would recommend you try a processed whole food plant-based diet. And what I mean by that is not what you might think right now, but I'm going to go into detail in the next video, because that's also what you asked, right? That's your next question, like what did you eat at first, and how did you get enough calories in your food so they wouldn't get too big and made you feel stuffed without being able to use all the whole foods you are using now? That's a perfect question, and I'm going to go exactly into that in the next video. Please give this a thumbs up if this helped you. I'm trying to make it as short as possible. Give this a thumbs up and let me know your stories of SIBO or gut health in the comments. And really, your interaction in any kind of way with my videos helps me so much, and I thank you very much for that. See you!